What's up everybody? On today's video, I'm going to show you the right way to attach body panels onto your car. So first of all, it should go without saying, but buy high quality body parts, but you know what I mean, body kits, body panels, exterior accessories, that sort of thing. You're going to get what you pay for when it comes to this sort of stuff. So while yes, you can kind of finesse and manipulate cheap fiberglass parts, they're obviously going to take that much more work to get them fitted onto your car. So behind me, I have a Jetta TDI sedan. I think this is a 2012 or 2013. And yesterday I started to install an OEM, what Volkswagen calls a Votex kit. So this is an OEM kit manufactured by Volkswagen in Germany. It is not fiberglass, it is made of all polyurethane, so it is very flexible, it is very forgiving, it's very impact resistant. It is also worth mentioning that this kit was not cheap. This was one that I was able to source for this customer, but even when these were new, because they don't make these anymore, even when these were new, these were not cheap parts. But again, you get what you pay for. This kit lines up and dry fits to this car beautifully. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is literally held up by 3 bolts, one here on the bottom, one here on the bottom, and then a piece of tape. Lines up absolutely beautifully. I can apply pressure here. No sort of flexing, no sort of gapping that needs to be filled in. I mean, literally this piece of tape is just holding this to this body line, but look at that. I barely have to apply any sort of pressure, and you can see how it mates up to that body line beautifully. Step 1 is to buy high quality parts, to dry fit them, and to figure out your plan of attack. Okay, so once you have your part fitted and taped into place how you want it to sit on the car, step number 2 is you're gonna take some tape. I really like this 3M automotive refinish masking tape, and I really like this thin stuff because you can bend it around curves very easily. You can buy like 10 rolls of this on Amazon for pretty cheap if you buy it in bulk. Once we get the side skirt dry fitted and mocked up onto the car how we want it to sit, we're going to take our masking tape and we're going to tape along the unibody of the car as close to the side skirt as we can get. So essentially, if I were to take this skirt off, I have a perfect outline in tape of how that side skirt fits onto the car. Once we do that, we're going to take our masking tape and we are going to tape along the top leading edge of our side skirt. By doing these two things, what we've done is we've created a barrier. So that way, when we glue the skirt onto the car and we apply pressure and we have squeeze out, the extra glue does not tarnish or damage the paint on the car or the paint on the side skirt. And then once everything is cured, we simply remove the masking tape and we're completely done. We have a perfect glue line on the part. All right, I've gone through and I've taped all along that leading edge of our part. Get a little close up so you can see just a little bit exposed, but just barely. You do not want the tape to wrap around the corner to the inside of the part. Now also, while I was at this, I've gone through and I've cleaned up our entire mating surface on the inside of our skirt and cleaned everything, scraped off any old adhesive and then cleaned everything with wax and grease remover. So this part is now 100% prepped and ready to go onto the car. Now we need to do one last step on the car and then we can bond these two together. Before we glue this skirt onto the car, we of course need to make sure that the car is free of any sealants, any contaminants, anything that's going to prevent the adhesive from sticking and curing how it should. So in this case, this customer's car is treated with a pretty extreme ceramic coating from System X. So I'm simply going to take my DA polisher and hit it with some polishing compound just to eliminate all of that ceramic coating so that way our panel bonds onto the car how it should. Every car is going to differ, but you just need to make sure that your surface is clean and prepped of anything that's going to keep that adhesive from sticking and curing the way that it should. And lastly, I'm just going to hit it with some degreaser. Okay, so for our adhesive, the whole reason y'all clicked on this video, We are using 3M window weld. It is obviously responsible for keeping that piece of glass in front of your face while you're driving, so I figured, hey, it's good enough for body panels. The real main reason why I like this stuff is that it has flex. So if you're gluing on, you know, side skirts, a front lip, over fenders, a rear lip, anything that's gonna hang low or see a lot of force, this stuff is great because it has give, but it will not let go. I've been using window weld for my body kits for a long time. It's been on my daily. I have a Votex kit on that that's been on there for 2+ years outside in the North Carolina heat. That car doesn't get parked inside all the time. I have used it on numerous parts of the GTI, and I've yet to see this stuff fail. So this isn't cheap. It's about $40 or $50 a bottle, depending on if you get it in store or online. But one bottle should be more than enough to do a whole car, like 2 skirts, a front and rear lip, and maybe even a spoiler. I've never had to use more than 1 bottle for a car. Definitely invest in a nice caulk gun. If you have a really flimsy one, this stuff is very thick, and so they have a tendency to flex while you're squeezing. So definitely do yourself a favor and get a nice caulk gun. These are not expensive. This was the most expensive one at my local hardware store, and it was $9. But again, this stuff is thick, so if you have a flimsy or a broken caulk gun, you're probably gonna wanna invest in getting a new one. All right, and the next step is to apply our bead of sealant all the way along the edge of our part. This has a little groove on top and bottom where the sealant's supposed to go. I'm gonna use those as a guide. You do not need to put a whole lot of this stuff down. When we put it up onto the car, we're gonna squeeze it against the car, so there's gonna be a lot of squeeze out. You do not need as much as you think you do. A nice bead, think of it like RTV, if you're putting RTV on a part on your engine. You do not need to goober this thing up. Just a nice thin bead all the way up top is gonna be more than enough. Now, we're gonna install the part and we're gonna tape everything up. Now, depending on your part, you might need to make something that you can stick on the part, so as you tape over it, not only do you press upward, but you press inward. And so I have taken some FCP Euro boxes, everybody knows that blue tape, and just made a bunch of these little cardboard rolls. I have a couple dozen of them, and so that way as I tape them up, it's gonna apply inward pressure. You might not need to do this depending on your part. It all kind of just depends on the curves and where the body lines fall. On these skirts, I know I'm gonna have to use these. All right, so we placed everything up, we ran our finger along, and we kind of smeared the sealant, the squeeze out smooth as we went along. You don't want a lot of buildup along that tape edge, because then when you go to unmask this 24 hours later, you're gonna have a hard time unmasking it. You're gonna have to get your razor blades out and start digging out extra sealant. So tape things up, apply pressure where needed, wipe your squeeze out as you go. Have a yucky rag handy so you can clean your finger off, but wipe as you go. And then once you're satisfied with how everything is taped up, wait at least overnight. I recommend just waiting 24 hours. Make note of the time, and then you can go back and peel everything off 24 hours later, and you have a result like this. So we have a Votex rear installed on this car. You're just left with a beautiful edge. Everything fits wonderfully. And since this car is black and the sealant's black, it actually just really ties everything together.